Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Prince Magnum channel where hot rodding and romance do coexist. I'm your host, Prince Magnum. Welcome to another one of my live streams of Picking Up the Pieces. We got a lot of ground to cover today, folks, and I mean a lot of ground. Okay? What do I mean by that? The ground that we need to cover is the fact that, wow, there a couple of days ago, some information came across my way, and I had to investigate it. And we need to do this right. We need to do this legally. So I'm going to be shouting out to some people who obviously their hearts are bigger than their heads. Okay? And I mean that as a compliment. Okay? For those that don't understand that, sometimes your heart could be bigger than your head. Your intentions may be good, but it may not be the route that you want to take. And we're going to talk about that in today's stream. A lot of you folks want to help, and I appreciate that. You guys are awesome, but we got to do this right. So I'm going to explain to you guys how to do the right thing to obviously help with this entire situation with Princess Faye. Okay, so we're going to go through the bases, and we're gonna walk. I'm going to walk you guys through the right way to do this, and some of the things that have been coming across my way. I really don't know what to say. Uh, it's wow. Okay, just wow. So we're going to wait a couple more minutes, kind of let everyone start making their way in. If you're watching the playback, watch it all the way through because there's going to be a lot of ground to cover in this particular video. Okay, well, what's going to be a video, even though it's a live stream. So we're going to try to do this right. Stay with me, folks. There's a lot of ground to cover today, okay? And at some points, it may seem like I'm ignoring your comment, but don't want to lose my train of thought. I'm going to do my best to also answer any questions. We're going to try to do right, okay? We have to do right, okay? And we're going to be relying very heavily on an important saying that I followed this day and age. What's right isn't always popular, and what's popular isn't always right. Okay, so we're going to ride that heavy. Okay, we're going to ride that real heavy today. So, as everyone starts making their way in, share the stream out. Obviously, this is going to be added to the playlist of the important streams in dealing with this whole deal with Princess Faye, okay, of picking up the pieces. So the podcast that we did that was also live streamed here on YouTube is also available on that. I want to again thank Spaz Baby for uh, doing doing the interview. I'm looking forward to another one where we're probably going to even be talking about some of the things that we're talking about right now, including some actual stories from Princess Faye and I being together. So we do have a lot of ground to cover. We just got to do this right. And again, I want to urge everyone to watch this all the way through. Okay. Now, the first thing that we need to get out of the way as we start getting underway, you have to. I know there's a lot of folks out there that have certain viewpoints on certain what might be considered illicit drugs, more in particular marijuana. Now, some of you don't call it that anymore, but it's an old term that I'm familiar with, and I'm going to use it because that's what I'm comfortable using. Trying to call it anything else avoids the fact that there are some things that we need to address on it. That there's a reason why in a lot of places it's still a prescription medication and that sort of thing. So we'll leave that there, but also understand that when I'm discussing it, sometimes because it pertains to my wife, I get very angry. So certain things come out the way that they come out. It doesn't mean that I'm necessarily bashing anyone who believes a certain way. It's just the fact that I'm angry, and y'all have to understand that. So. When I'm not as upset about the subject, I'll speak a little bit more level-headed. But unfortunately, I'm I'm sometimes a slave to my own emotions, if you will. And that is a particular subject that I think everyone can understand at that point. Okay. We're talking about it, on a one on one when emotions aren't involved. Yeah, you're going to get, the real Prince Magnum on the subject. But when you throw my emotions in there, it gets, the real message gets convoluted. Okay. So just understand that I have certain viewpoints on it, and you're not going to sway those viewpoints because I've seen good and bad. Okay, so we'll leave it there. I've seen good and bad, and that's the benefit of working the field that I did for 13 years. Okay, we'll see good and bad. So now that we've kind of covered that, okay. Um, hey, what's going on, Daniel? Good to see you. You keep changing your name. It's good to see you, Daniel. Stick around. We got a lot of ground to cover today, and I know you're connected as well in social media. Definitely share this out to everyone you know, and the playlist of the important picking up the pieces. The more information we get out, the more everything. I'm hanging in there right now with everything going on with my wife. I'm hanging in there. Princess Faye a month ago went off the deep end. Drugs, alcohol, mental illness. Yeah, it's a bad situation, and she's involved herself in a situation with her family that is not good. Okay, so I definitely recommend you getting caught up with those playlists. It's about 8 hours, but everything in there you're going to need. Okay, and I definitely recommend sharing that playlist out to everybody. So let's get underway. All right, and we'll get everyone caught up to speed as we get going. Um, First thing that we need to get out of the way, the Prince Magnum channel, and for that matter, any YouTube channel, can be viewed anywhere in the world without actually going directly onto YouTube. So the numbers that you sometimes might see on your channel may not be the actual number, okay? It may be higher than you think. So now that we've said that, there are folks that have seen the podcast and have probably seen the videos that are outraged by Princess Faye's actions and the actions of her family. So much so that since there was people already talking, but a Facebook community actually cropped up. And it was practically the way it was described to me by the time I was searching for that Facebook community. I can't find them. Okay, I can't find them. That's not to say that they still don't exist. They just may be elsewhere. Okay, but it was a Facebook community that was outraged with over 300 people in the group, and some of them right in Beaverton, Oregon, where my wife lives. That is a little scary because the folks that were mad they were talking about how they wanted to do harm to my wife's family and even my wife. Folks, this is why I said early on in the stream that sometimes people's hearts get bigger than their heads. Now, that's not necessarily saying that that's a bad thing. If anything, I am honored that you feel that strongly for me. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. But if you want to help, let's do this right. There are better ways of doing this than resulting to violence. And I will openly say that granted, I might have certain angry feelings towards her family. I know that acting on them would cause more harm than good because of the damage that it could cause to my wife, who is mentally ill. I know there are some of you ladies that are very angry with my wife. I've actually heard some of you saying, "Hey, what's going on, Viable? Good to see you, bud." I'm breathing in and breathing out. That is still something. Thank you so much, Danny. Appreciate you, brother. So let me explain. Some of you ladies out there have called my wife a disgrace to womanhood, and that is not fair to my wife. So let's get this right. She suffers from mental illness. And in a way, you might as well say it's a form of Stockholm syndrome, which is commonplace for children that have been abused by their family. Okay? This is a commonplace thing. So let's not get this confused, folks. Let's not get this confused. If someone is dealing with mental illness, causing them harm is not going to make the mental illness better. Okay? We have to take into consideration that she is struggling with serious problems. If someone gets cancer, we don't get mad at them because they got cancer. Okay? If someone gets, falls into the trappings of drugs and alcohol, yeah, we might be angry because of the actions that they take, but can we really? They've lost the ability in a lot of ways to tell the difference between right and wrong. I know from personal experience that my alcoholism took me to places I said I would never go, but it did. It is a form of mental illness. So in that regard, we need to take into consideration, I have a very sick wife on my hands. So harm will not make it better. Harm will make it worse. What do we do if you want to help? There's lots of ways to do it. By sharing it out the way that we have been and getting the news out, people become aware. And the pressure can now be applied to the authorities to do the right thing. And they will, because right now, the Beaverton, Oregon Police Department looks like an absolute joke right now. I know that many law enforcement officers where I live are very outraged by the actions of the police department up there. They are so angry that thankfully they are not around those police officers because they would get an earful on the proper manner a police officer is supposed to conduct themselves. So that police agency, if you want to call them that, it looks like something out of the Three Stooges. I'm sorry. Okay. We have to look at this from a standpoint of we have to do this right. So by applying the pressure to the authorities, they will eventually do something. They will find something. They always do with a family like I'm describing. But that may not be enough for you. Maybe you want to take it to the next level. Okay, we've already set that up now. You can. By making sure that their jobs are aware of the things that they're doing. Those jobs no longer want to be implicated with people like that. No company wants to be implicated with people like that. Stop me if I'm wrong. How many times have you heard where someone lied about their criminal record and their job let them go? What's going on, J-Dog? So what we're dealing with is there is a way to do it, okay? So now that, they're pretty much jobless, the money is dwindling away, okay? By getting the word to the right people, they will not be able to get a job. None of them, including my wife, which this works to our advantage, okay? And this is legal. No job will hire them. So that means the money's going away. Bills can't be paid. It means that the basis for what my wife has engrossed herself in is no longer a solution. It's no longer a means of running away from the problems. Okay? It's no longer a way out. We've taken away that way out now. It's slowly dwindling as we speak. So by continuing that effort, you now are helping take away her means of running from the problem. Okay? By continuing to take away the finances. Without the finances, she can't get the drugs, okay? Which means eventually she's going to have to face reality. And then when reality sets in, the front door is still open for her. She can come home anytime. But the clock is still ticking because now she can't afford that car anymore. So she has two options: come home on her own means or have me come get her, which is going to be an embarrassment in itself. I would rather her come home on her own means because we don't need to face that embarrassment. But let's go a step further. By getting the information to her extended family, which this information is public, they're not going to want anything to do with them. Eventually, the money will run dry. She'll come home and we can solve the issue. Mental illness and drug addiction are the same thing. Okay? We have to treat it as such. And there are a lot of folks out there who suffer from mental illness. We cannot overlook that fact. There are folks who suffer, my wife included. So causing harm is not going to, never mind the law in this case, it's not going to help. We have to do the right thing. So I urge this group, if you guys are watching, any of you that are involved in that group, reach out and contact me. I will instruct you the right way. Your hearts are in the right place, but they're bigger than your head. We have to think this through. I urge you guys to feel free to reach out to me. My email is easy to remember. I've even given my full name so you guys can contact me. You guys can call me, easily at that point. If you, and bear this in mind, Princess Faye has done more for this world than most people can imagine. And let me explain. She is the artist behind Project Spirit and Project Lena. An amazing artist who has inspired many to get out there and work on their own project. She has helped create more than most people will give her credit for, but I will give a great deal of credit for creating the character of Cinnamon. And through that character, we have inspired couples to come closer together, and we've inspired people. We, the Maverick Nation, have also inspired people to feel comfortable in their own skin. And goodbye. You can go to them all day long. Everything I'm doing is legal. So you're welcome to. Everybody is already fully aware and perfectly comfortable. So what I'm describing, and if you want to get technical, because of the interruptions to business, I have the right to sue her family as well. We had another YouTuber who was speaking on her behalf, and people mass reported him. He can now sue her family because he was trying to do the right thing and was suffered disruption to his business. You coming in here and saying that, let me explain to you, because of a disruption in what I have to say, because it's part of business. Let me explain to you. Through going to a lawyer, I can have the record subpoena directly from YouTube and any VPN company that you work with, thus getting your address. And I could sue you next. So be very careful. Yeah, that's actually a thing. So do yourself a favor, take a seat. Everything I've done is legal. And actually, I didn't want that. I wanted this. Goodbye. So, everything I've done is within the confinements of the law. So I urge everyone to do the same. Folks, unfortunately, this is not the 1800s where we could clean up the street, clean up the problems with the way they did in the Wild West. We can't do that anymore. Times have changed. We've had to change. And unfortunately, we can't really call our society a civilized society. It is what it is. But we can still do the right thing. The objective is to get her home, to get her into treatment, and then get her the help that she needs. That is my goal, without question. That is our job. My wife has helped more people than she knows. Who knows the amount of lives she's saved or changed in a positive way? And that to me is worth saving. Not just because I'm her husband, but because I know the good that she can do. I've seen it. So let's do the right thing, folks. Let's get her home. Let's get her well. So everything that I've just described, there is a way to do it. We just got to do it within the confinements of what we consider civilized today. I will openly say that any society that doesn't allow a husband to go and fight for his wife, I don't consider a civilized society. And I will say that I love my wife, but if we were in a true civilized society, I would go fight for her and to get her well and all these things. But I have to rely on the confinements of law. Like it, love it, or hate it, I have to do it the right way, whether we agree with it or not. So I urge all of you that was in that community, reach out to me. I'll be glad to talk to you guys through the proper way to do it. We can make a difference. And let me tell you, one YouTube channel can make a difference. The town I live in had some issues. And I spoke out about those issues. And this was back when the channel was really small. I think around 75, 76 subscribers, if I remember correctly, when I did this video. And in the process of me doing this video, what ends up happening is the city was now sparked into a rejuvenation of the city. This little town has turned around, did a 180, and city beautification actually means something in this town. I'm proud of my little town because they have really stepped up. Hats off to the politicians who are doing the right thing. Granted, I had to make the right video and say what needed to be said, but we made a difference. And you guys are the ones that were at the helm doing it. Yeah, I was rough, but you guys did the right thing. One voice can help. How many people? Countless. My wife has helped a lot of people, but now she needs that help. We need to get her home and get her well. She's around a father that sexually assaulted her at the age of 14. He's not faced criminal charges for it. Now, technically speaking, Oregon, the Beaverton, Oregon Police Department is fully aware of the situation and will not do it. However, I am her husband. I do have the right to press charges here in the state of Missouri. But getting them to understand that there is a federal law that says that you do need to recognize marriage laws unless it's common law. Common law is not recognized, but laws, across the board when it comes to marriage here in the United States, get them to listen to that. I'm a resident and have been my whole life in the state of Missouri. This is where we were married. So that means that the laws here in Missouri on marriage do apply there in this particular case. And I know it's splitting legal hairs, but thank you. Thank you, Dean. Appreciate it. So putting pressure on the authorities, putting pressure on, where they can't, and once we get her home, we forget them. We forget them. Who cares? They'll figure it out. How many times you always seen it when financial ruin hits, you always figure out how to land on your feet. They'll figure it out after that because everyone will be too busy focused on getting the right person taken care of. We have to do the right thing, folks. So again, I asked the Facebook community that was basically putting together this group, let's do it right. Mental illness is a thing. We have to do what's right. So I urge all of you, thank you for the watch time. To answer that, not necessarily. Number one, there has to be a real threat, and I'm no real threat these days. I'm too damn old and too damn tired. What I'm actually doing, well, okay. As a husband, there are certain legal rights that I have, and I'm abiding by those legal rights. You also have to remember that my wife was seeing a professional counselor. We're apt to believe that they were figuring out that she had problems with drugs, meaning that that's why she stopped going. We've been able to figure that much out. Okay? So being the case, all it would require is the paperwork to prove that she's not mentally well enough to take care of herself. So yes, I'm legal. I'm legal beagle. Okay? And the other thing that you also have to remember is through the Freedom of Information Act, I'm legal. And that's federal. Really? I know my wife. That's not her style. But it's up to us. We got to do the right thing. And I'm even going to go so far as to say, I'm asking folks to do the right thing. Let's get her home. Let's get her safe. Let's get her taken care of. Again, thank you for the watch time. But let's do this right. Okay? Let's do the right thing. Again, let's make a difference. She's got a lot more people to help. We have to do the right thing. She's not well. I still believe in the good that's in her. I'm still wearing it. Well, honey, there are folks really angry with you. Unfortunately, no, I'm not able to do the makeup show this Saturday. I can't do the makeup by myself. I'm not that skilled anymore. My hands shake an awful lot these days. And it has been that way since my stroke. Unfortunately, that's just one of the natures of it. I'm still sharp as a tack. Unfortunately, my memory isn't always the greatest, unless it's super spectacular and that sort of thing. Let's fix this. Folks, I'm asking you as a content creator. Sometimes I get over there and see you, Danny. I get over there and see you. I may not say anything, but I'm there. You put on a good show. You put on a good show. I just haven't been in there lately. But I'll be there when I can. When I'm not, just know I'm there with you, heart and soul. So, again, I urge that community to reach out to me. We got a lot to talk about. And the person who started the page, especially you, if you're watching, reach out. Let's do the right thing. We got someone who's suffering from mental illness, and we need to fix this. We have to fix this. Thank you, Danny. Appreciate that. Actually, more than you think. There's a lot more people than you think. Since um, doing that whole podcast, there's more people now involved than ever before. And that's really exciting that folks have gotten on the bandwagon because Princess Faye is a very important person. I know a lot of ladies are also very angry with her, and I want to say the guys, guys, we really don't have a right. Okay, the only one that has a right to be upset is me in this case. I'm not saying you're not entitled to your feelings, but stand back. Okay, if you want to help, let's get her fixed. But there are ladies that are really angry, and let's not forget she's not mentally well. So let's do the right thing. Okay? Mental illness is a thing. My wife suffers from it. She has, for a long time. I mean, you got to understand, she had abusive parents. And, her father being sexually abusive has really caused some severe problems. And the authorities have failed her. She slipped through those cracks. So we have to look at it from the standpoint of we have a victim, basically. There's really two victims in this case. Obviously, you will point at me because, my wife's been, manipulated into this. Actually, I can. Our dear friend Spaz Baby was the one that was the podcaster that did it. Which by not mentioning it, it causes you to go over to her channel and look. That's why I do it. Because I want you guys to watch it, and I want you guys to support Spaz. Spaz is an awesome gal. I'll tell y'all right now. I've had some wonderful conversations with her long before this. And I will tell you that Spaz doesn't get enough credit for how really awesome she is. Not just as a content creator, but as a human being. She's one of the most caring, redneck type gals I've ever met in my entire life. And, I will tell you all that I am grateful to have met her here on YouTube and to get to know her outside of YouTube. She's one of the finest people that I have ever had the opportunity to get to know. And without a question, she is one of the sweetest gals that anybody could ever. Hold on a second. City's hard at work. She's one of the sweetest gals that has ever graced social media. So Spaz, I know you're watching. Thank you for being such an amazing friend. There's not enough like you in the world. I wish there was more. You are amazing through and through. So everything that I've described is our goal, to get her home by any means legally necessary. By creating the financial situation, we can get her home, get her taken care of. There are more people watching than you think. So, yes, people do care. There are folks watching. That's the funny thing about YouTube. Sometimes the counter doesn't tell you how many people are watching, and you don't have to be on YouTube to actually watch. As people continue to share, the information gets out. And as the information gets out, you can no longer hide. As we get closer and closer to the end of this stream, I'm reminded of why I married that woman. I married her because I love her. I married her because she is without question one of the most amazing people that I've ever met. I know she struggles with depression and drug addiction and alcoholism. Thank you so much, Danny. Appreciate you, brother. But without question, she is everything that, she drove me to become better than I could have ever imagined. I'm not saying I was perfect. I definitely didn't walk on water while she was here. And the truth of it is, that's just part of being human. We make mistakes and we struggle with our demons. I don't know anyone that by the time they're 25 don't have skeletons in the closet and mistakes that they've made. We've all made them. But I think we all pay our crimes for the mistakes we make at some point in time. I've paid for mine. And believe me, in a lot of ways, I've paid for them tenfold this time around. I should have paid a little closer attention to how bad she was falling apart on the inside. I should have paid attention to the fact that she may have fallen back into those trappings of drugs and alcohol. I should have paid closer attention. And I should have paid closer attention that her family's as sick as they are. Mental illness is a thing. We got to take care of her. So let's be real. Let's help her. I know all too well what that world looks like. I'm grateful I'm not there anymore. But in the end, I found a way out. Let's help her find hers. She doesn't deserve, and let me say, she doesn't deserve to go through that. Folks, I don't know why it is, but for whatever reason, when a woman falls into that world, I guess it's physiology, but AA is very clear about this. When a woman falls into the trappings of our disease, our chemical dependency, for whatever reason, they go down hard. And I don't know why that is. I've never fully understood it. Maybe one day science will explain it a little bit better for a guy like me. Not sure why that is. But when they go down hard. Oftentimes you see guys years down the road finally get into sobriety, but you see a lot more women earlier than the guys because they had to hit a lot of rungs on the way down. Well, if I know my wife, she hits a lot of these rungs that I'm worried about her hitting, she may not make it back. So that's why we're here today. So again, I urge the community that was putting together this group, let's fix this. Let's not make it worse. Okay? What's right isn't always popular. What's popular isn't always right. If there's any message that you get in all of this, here we are. Some people say, let her go. That's the popular answer. The right answer is fight with all your might. If there's one thing that I believe in, more than anything, if you think you're right, stand up for it, even if you think you're going to lose. Stand up for it. That's why we're here. That's why we're here. Hey, what's going on, Jamie? I'm hanging in there. We're slowly getting we're not quite there yet, but we're getting close to the end of the stream. Brother, we had to talk about some tough subjects today. Some folks are mad, really mad, at my wife wanting to do harm. But we got to do what's right. And we're talking about what's right and what the right way to do it is. Get her home, get her safe. Let her family figure it out afterwards with the financial ruin. Again, my wife has went through hell by the time she got here. Thank you so much, Jamie. By the time she got here to my place, when I bought her that plane ticket, everyone's heard that story. The part that we never talk, thank you so much, Jamie. I appreciate you, brother. But the part that we don't always talk about is the type of mental state that she came here in. We don't talk about that very often until recent. She got here hoping that I was some sort of psychotic killer. Obviously, I'm not. Psychotic, maybe. Killer, no. Unless I'm in the bottom of my cup. Oh, thank you. This was actually a birthday present from a few years back. Thank you. So let's, that's horrible that a person would be in that kind of state of mind. Her parents did it to her. What else can you expect from someone that lived their whole life being manipulated and knowing it? A father that was sexually abusing you. Come on. We got to be real. She's not well. No wonder the fucking drugs took over. God damn. Hell, I don't know anybody that come out right after something like that. I don't know anyone who'd be well. It is what it is. We got to fix it. We got to take care of what's right. It's not the popular answer, because popular answer would be like, do harm. But that's not going to make it any better. Not to someone in her condition. She's not well. And if there's one thing that I've been preaching the whole time, let's do right. Let's make this right. Let's fix it. Let's get her home. Let's get her safe. Let's get her into treatment. And let's get her the therapy. After she's well, if she wants to go, just not back into the waiting arms of a family that's going to destroy you. Absolutely, Jamie. And you guys got to understand, there's a force in this world that goes beyond the the norm. What I consider the truest magic of the world. You've all watched me perform magic here on this channel. The true magic of this world is love. I've seen it move mountains, build brand new bridges. And in this case, it'll save the most beautiful woman that has ever come into my life. We have to love her back to health. Despite everything, I still love her and I'm still proud of her. Part of my soul walked out that door with her. A good part of it. A good part of my heart walked with her. I am walking around as an incomplete soul. Without her, I don't feel complete. But if we can get her well, and if she still wants to go, then at least I can be a little bit more complete, knowing that she stands a chance against the tough vigors of this world. She deserves it. So everyone get on board. We got a life to save. And by saving one life, who knows how many more we could save in the process. We got a job to do. So I urge all of you to get on board. Share it out to everyone you know. Let's do this. We need the guy on the green screen. Let's do this. Positive vibes, strength, hope, courage as we face this challenge of saving someone. This is what the Prince Magnum channel is all about. Hope without a drink or a drug. I just never thought it would hit this close to home again. I didn't think it would hit this close to home again. But here we are, and it did. So let's fix it. Me too. I just don't want to, I don't want her to have to go through what I went through, or worse yet, what some of our other ladies in sobriety have had to go through. She doesn't need that. So I'm trying to bring the bottom to her without her having to go through the hell that some of us have had to go through. She deserves it. Without question. She deserves better. So as we begin to let out, I again urge that Facebook group, reach out. We've got a lot to talk about. And to the ladies that are angry in that group, I understand and I appreciate it. But unfortunately, as dear old Grandpa Magnum used to say, violence only creates more enemies. Violence only creates more enemies. Talking it out and being respectful creates friends, lifetime friends. Sometimes the olive branch to friendship to friendship is sometimes harder to extend than we think. But if we remember to do right and extend that olive branch of friendship, who knows what good we can do. So here we are. The most positive message I can deliver. Jamie, you deserve a whole lot more followers than you get. I've been in your live streams. I've heard your personality. You don't get enough credit for what you do. But I will tell you that you are amazing. I don't know if you suffer anything, but I can tell you if you do, you don't show it. You are a model of positivity. And like I've said about a lot of you creators out there, but I definitely, I think you deserve more credit. He is just, I mean, just the way he presents himself, the positivity that he brings to this platform. Thank you. I appreciate that. But I'm just some knucklehead who decided to do custom cars and romance and being the first at it. That's the only thing I got credit for. But I'm going to tell you, if you believe in it, if you believe in what's right, if you believe in something that is right, fight for it even if you think you're going to lose. But do it right. Be respectful and be true to the confinements that society has put on us. Unfortunately, like it, love it, or hate it, sometimes, well, sometimes society gets it wrong. Truth be told, we're doing it wrong. Because if I was allowed to, I'd fight. I would physically get up and go fight for her. Why? Because I love her. That's my wife. The most beautiful woman I've ever met. Brother, stick to your passions. Stick to your passions. Don't give up on what you enjoy. Maybe it's time to take a step back. What are you missing? Reach out to me. You know how to get a hold of me, brother. You know how to get a hold of me. We'll talk. But don't give up on your passion. You got a message. People need that message. And however you present it, that's however you present that message, that's just the way it is. So, we all got a message. It's up to us to make it a positive one. So as we get to that spot where I get to say the good stuff, I want to remind y'all, this day and age, we just got to do what's right. Like it, love it, or hate it. We may be constricted. Thank you so much, Jamie. I want you all to know I'm proud that you guys are busting your tails trying to help. Thank you. You guys are the real heroes today, trying to help my lovely wife. You guys are the real heroes. Big hug, big streamer hug to you. We got a lot of work ahead of us. It's not going to be an easy road. Sometimes it's hard to fix people when they're so broken. But we can do it as a community. We can make a difference. We can save lives. Here we are. We have that opportunity to save a life that has already saved countless. I urge all of you to continue that journey with me. So as we begin to let out for the day, we'll be live later on another friend's stream. But as we let out for the day, goodness. So as we let out for the day, I want to remind you all of the most important things that are here on this channel. We don't say it enough right now, but regardless, we're going to go ahead and say it. Get out there and work on a project. I don't care what it is, just do something with yourselves. Thank you, brother. Thank you. Get out there and work on a project. I don't care what it is, just do something with yourselves. Remember, idle hands and a creative mind go together like oil and water. If you have a sweetheart, sweep them off their feet and do something special for them today. And as always, for every last one of you out there, if no one out there has told you that they love you today, Prince Magnum does. God bless you and have a happy 24. Thank you.